You better go and beg. Even if it's to clean toilet, work is work. Viola scoffed. I'm not cleaning anyone's. Welcome to Tales by Steph, a home of interesting African stories. The sun rose slowly over Lagos, casting its hazy glow on the tired city below. It was the kind of morning that whispered hope into the ears of the desperate, and Joy Ikenna was one of them. She stood before the mirror in her mother's one-room apartment, adjusting the only blazer she owned, faded but clean. Her CVs, printed on borrowed paper at a cyber cafe, were neatly clipped in a clear folder. She had applied to over 20 places, and today she was walking again. No transport fare, just dreams in her chest and dust on her shoes. As she stepped out, her mother called from behind. Joy, don't forget what I told you. If they don't hire you, hold your head high. You are not empty. You are not small. Joy smiled weakly and nodded. Thank you, Mama. The streets were busy with hawkers shouting, Danfo drivers hurling insults, and the ever-present Lagos impatience. Joy walked with her chin up, holding her folder close as if it contained magic. The heat was already licking her skin. She was approaching the large roundabout near Victoria Island when a familiar sound pierced the air, the roar of a luxury car engine, a white Range Rover, polished like pride itself. Inside sat Viola Adeyemi, her long Brazilian curls cascading down her shoulders, her nails painted with a fresh coat of power, her eyes hidden behind expensive sunglasses. Viola had barely changed since secondary school, still beautiful, still arrogant, still cruel. Joy didn't notice the car until it was too late. Splash! A puddle of dirty rainwater, left over from the night's storm, erupted and landed with precision on Joy's chest, her face, her file. Her folder slipped from her hand and hit the ground. Mud oozed across her last chance at dignity. People turned. Some gasped, some laughed. No one helped. Viola lowered her sunglasses slowly and smiled wickedly from the driver's seat. Oh, if it isn't the scholarship girl again, she called out. Still trekking to submit CVs? I thought by now you'd be mixing pap in the village. Joy stared at her, breath caught in her throat, eyes wide with disbelief and pain. Viola's smile widened. Don't cry, my dear. Life is not for everybody. And with that she sped off, music blaring. Joy dropped to her knees on the roadside, tears hot on her cheeks as she tried to salvage what was left of her stained papers. But what Viola didn't know, what she could never have imagined, was that this would be the last time she would laugh at Joy Ikenna, because life was about to turn, and this time mud would crown a queen. 2 weeks had passed since the humiliating encounter with Viola at the roundabout, yet Joy still felt the sting every time she closed her eyes. The splash, the laughter, the mocking words, they echoed through her like a ghost. But she didn't let them cripple her. Instead, she washed her only outfit again, reprinted her CV, and set out again. This time she walked with fire. She wasn't just looking for a job now, she was looking to rise. One morning, Joy sat at the reception of Oasis Innovations, a new tech conglomerate rising rapidly in the Nigerian startup space. She had stumbled on the opportunity by accident, a flyer tucked in the gutter while she walked to another interview. They weren't asking for degrees, just innovation, skill, passion. She had all three. Next, the receptionist called, and Joy stood, smoothing her skirt. Inside the room sat 3 people, 2 men in suits and a stern-faced woman with glasses low on her nose. They barely looked up when Joy walked in. "Tell us who you are," one of them said without looking. Joy cleared her throat. "My name is Joy Ikenna. I may not come from wealth or privilege, but I come with ideas. I have built 3 mini software prototypes in the last year alone, without formal equipment. I believe innovation is not born in comfort, but in hunger. And I am hungry. The woman raised a brow. Joy handed over her makeshift portfolio, hand-drawn flowcharts, app layouts designed on paper, and codes written in longhand when she couldn't afford a laptop. They were stunned. One of the men asked her, "You wrote code by hand?" "Yes, sir, it compiles. I tested it at a cafe." They looked at each other, and for the first time in her life, someone saw her, not as poor, not as desperate, but as brilliant. Joy got a call 3 days later. She was hired, not as an assistant, but as a junior developer with housing support and laptop access. Within 6 months, she designed a money-saving app for local traders, and it went viral. By the end of the year, she was leading a team. Her face was on tech blogs. The girl who coded her way out of poverty trended on social media. Investors came knocking. Joy created a small firm under Oasis called Mudcode Solutions, a nod to where she came from. She moved her mother out of the one-room face me, I face you to a 3-bedroom apartment in Lekki, bought her a fridge, a gas cooker, a bed. One night, as they ate food with chilled malt, Mama looked at her with tears in her eyes. "I told you, light does not argue with darkness. It just shines." Joy smiled. "Mama, I want to build an empire, but I want to do it the right way. I don't want revenge. I want redemption." Things were unraveling fast for Viola. Her father, Chief Adeyemi, had been arrested on allegations of fraud and embezzlement. His assets frozen, houses seized, businesses shut down. Suddenly, the Range Rover was gone. So were the maids, the chef, the parties. Viola, who had never learned to live without luxury, now shared a 2-room apartment in Ajegunle with her bitter aunt. Her phone was dry. Her friends vanished. No one returned her calls. She went to a job interview once, just once. When they asked her what skills she had, she blinked and said, "I'm Viola Adeyemi." The interviewer laughed in her face. The world didn't care about her name anymore. One afternoon, Viola sat on a Danfo bus, sweaty and furious, heading home from a failed job fair. As the bus passed through Victoria Island, she looked up and saw a large digital billboard. Mudcode Solutions, founded by Joy Ikenna. Innovation from the ground up. Her mouth dropped open. She looked again. It was the same Joy she had splashed water on. Only now, Joy was wearing a fitted navy blue suit, standing beside a shiny building, smiling confidently. Viola's heart dropped. "No, no, not her," she whispered. But it was. The tables had not just turned, they had flipped violently. And Viola, she was about to find out what it felt like to be on the other side of the mud. Viola had stopped counting the days. Gone were the salon visits, the designer clothes, and the weekends in Dubai. Now her days were filled with rejected emails, long bus queues, and watery rice sold by roadside vendors. Her nails were chipped, her confidence shattered. Each morning she stared at her reflection, wondering when her life had become so unrecognizable. But the billboard haunted her. Joy Ikenna. The name echoed in her ears like punishment. Every blog, every business magazine, every breakfast radio program. Joy was there. She was everywhere. One rainy Tuesday, Viola's aunt shoved a crumpled newspaper into her hand. "They're hiring office staff at some tech company in Victoria Island," she said with a grunt. "You better go and beg, even if it's to clean toilet. Work is work." Viola scoffed. "I'm not cleaning anyone's—" The woman's sharp glare cut her off. "You think pride pays rent? Go and apply." With nothing but faded jeans and an old blouse, Viola stepped out into the rain. When she reached the building, she froze. It was the headquarters of Mudcode Solutions, the same building from the billboard. She almost turned around, but hunger screamed louder than pride. She signed in at the security desk and joined the queue. They were hiring for a front desk administrative assistant. Basic pay, long hours. When it was her turn, she walked in nervously. The HR rep glanced at her CV and asked, "Have you worked anywhere before?" I, I used to work with my father," she lied. "He was, into real estate." "References?" Viola looked down. "None. Everyone's gone." The woman sighed. "We'll call you." 2 days later, Viola received a message. "Come in for final screening." She didn't expect much. She wore the same blouse. When she arrived, she was led into a small conference room, and that's when her heart stopped. Seated at the head of the table was Joy. But Joy was unrecognizable, polished, poised, powerful. Her suit was tailored to perfection, her hair pulled back in a professional bun. She held a sleek tablet and looked up slowly. Their eyes met. Silence stretched. Viola swallowed hard. "Miss Adeyemi," Joy finally said, voice cool and steady. "Please sit." Viola sat stiffly. Joy continued reading from the tablet. "So, you're applying for the front desk position. Do you have any experience in administrative roles?" Viola hesitated. "Number, but I can learn. I'm willing to do anything." Joy raised a brow. "Anything?" There was no mockery in her voice, only curiosity. "Yes," Viola said quietly. I need this job." Another pause. Joy put down the tablet and leaned back. "Do you remember the roundabout?" she asked gently. Viola's eyes watered instantly. "I do. I think about it every day. I was cruel to you. I thought life would always favor me." Joy said nothing. Viola continued. "You have every reason to hate me, to humiliate me. I deserve it. But I'm here because I'm no longer who I was. I've fallen, and I don't know how to get up." There was rawness in her voice that made Joy's throat tighten. She stood and walked over to the window, staring out. "I walked the city in those same shoes," she said quietly. "I cried on those same roads. I was covered in the same mud." She turned slowly. "And now I sit here not because I got lucky, but because I refused to stay in the mud you threw." Viola nodded, tears now flowing. "I'm sorry, Joy, truly. I never understood what it meant to struggle, but I do now, and if you give me a chance, I swear I will not disappoint you." Joy watched her for a long time. Then she picked up her tablet, tapped it, and said, "You start on Monday. Report by 8 a.m. Sharp. You'll be trained by HR. And Viola—" Viola looked up, surprised. "Don't mess this up." Viola sobbed, nodding quickly. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you." 3 months later, Viola was a different woman. She arrived at work early, answered calls professionally, learned to manage schedules. She greeted every visitor with a smile and earned respect from her colleagues. She and Joy rarely spoke directly, but whenever they passed in the hallway, Viola would nod respectfully, and Joy would nod back. One Friday evening, Viola waited for the elevator when Joy joined her. The two women stood in silence as the doors closed. Then Joy turned to her. "Would you like to have lunch next week?" she asked. Viola blinked. "With me?" Joy smiled. "We've both come a long way. I think it's time we talk, really talk." Viola nodded slowly. "Yes, I'd like that." A year later, Mud Code Solutions opened a second branch in Abuja. Viola was promoted to office manager. She rented her own small flat, helped her aunt financially, and even started a night diploma program in business admin. And Joy was listed in Forbes Africa under 30. She launched a foundation for girls in tech from underprivileged backgrounds. She donated computers to her old school. Her mother now ran a fully stocked food store with staff and monthly income. One day, at a women's empowerment event, Joy gave a speech. And in the front row, Viola sat, wearing a simple gown, hair tied, eyes shining. When Joy finished, she stepped down from the stage, walked to Viola, and hugged her. The crowd clapped. Because that moment wasn't just about success. It was about forgiveness, growth, and grace. Joy stood before a classroom filled with young girls, some barefoot, some with missing buttons, all with shining eyes. "This," she said, pointing to herself, "is what happens when you refuse to let shame drown you, when you turn your tears into ink, your pain into purpose." A girl raised her hand. "Did anyone ever hurt you, Auntie Joy?" Joy chuckled. "Yes, but they didn't break me. They taught me who I could become." Outside, Viola waited patiently in the car, now her driver, by choice. She'd insisted, "Let me serve you. I'm not your equal, not yet, but let me walk with you." Joy never treated her as lesser. They had become friends, real ones. Joy slid into the car. "How was traffic?" "Hellish," Viola laughed. "But I made it." They drove off, two women who had once been enemies, one born into gold, the other into gravel, but both refined by fire. Because sometimes life throws mud to bury you, but if you refuse to stay buried, you rise, glorious, unshaken, and crowned. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment.